Count them up.
Oh, buddy. What a year for Coach Drink. The alpha nerd, just like cashing in on all of this positive momentum. It was building towards, this last year, this year, like this moment. You got NIL laws in the state of Missouri. You've really parlayed this into a great opportunity. And here comes the SEC schedule, because like Ole Miss, Missouri has an SEC schedule that does include Alabama, but does not include Texas. It does not include Georgia. It does not include LSU. It doesn't include Ole Miss. I mean, a lot of the ranked teams, daggum 9 teams from the SEC are ranked, and a lot of them are not going to be on this schedule. Texas A&M and Oklahoma are there. Those will be interesting ones. And the over-under win total at FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make every moment more, is 9.5, juiced to the under. Danny, what are we doing with the Tigers?
Tom, go first. I still have them.
I'll tell you what Danny's doing with I am going under. Kind of an Ole Miss situation where it's not exactly a huge under, but it's where my numbers end up. I think, you mentioned the schedule. I agree. Like Ole Miss, you look at this as far as SEC schedules are concerned, this is very manageable. Like your non-con is Murray State, Buffalo, BC, and at UMass, which, by the way, is still one of the strangest games on the schedule this year. But those are 4 games you feel like Mizzou can win. So now it's like, can they win? How many SEC games can they win against the schedule? Vandy at home? Yeah. Texas A&M on the road? Maybe. Auburn at home? Probably. Alabama on the road? Oklahoma at home? Maybe. South Carolina on the road? Probably. Mississippi State? Probably. Arkansas? Probably. But my concern is that last year, there are some teams that I think over-exceed expectations. Like last year, nobody had Mizzou going, 10-2 in the regular season?
I think with the regular season. Yes.
Yeah. Nobody had them winning 10 games last year, but they did. They went 4-0 in 1-score games, and they had one of the best turnover margins in the country. These are things that when you don't have an elite level of talent that you need to take advantage of. And we see teams do it all the time, and then they come back the next year, they don't get quite as many breaks and things suffer, even though they're starting the year ranked in the top 10 based on what they did the year prior. I think Mizzou's talent has actually got improved. So I don't know how much of a drop-off you're actually going to see, but one of the other parts of this is Brady Cook is a good quarterback. He's a Jag plus in my mind. I think that's good. I think they have good receivers. I don't know defensively if I think they're incredible. They could be better, but another aspect worth considering, again, they went 4-0 1-score games. A big part of their wins last year was the thicker kicker.
Oh, yeah.
And he's gone. And I think that's one of those things that we just tend to overlook when we're trying to figure out if a team's going to be better. Because if you have a good, reliable kicker in college football, that helps you win games. And I don't know if they have Harrison Mevis there. And he beat Kansas State with the game-winning field goal last year. We'll never forget that. If they don't have him, do they win that game? How does the season go from that point on? So I think 9-3 is more likely than 10-2 is, I guess, the best way to put it all after thinking through all that.
I like the way you're thinking.
Well,
Under? Bud?
Man.
Oh, no.
Wow,
Oh,
I'll go
no.
then. I actually got so I had to mute
right
before
now
because the emergency message was going on here. I guess the Ritz didn't pay their bill. We're doing all right though. Thank goodness for Hotspot. What a genius invention. I'm on the under as well. I had the 4 losable games: Texas A&M, Auburn, Bama, Oklahoma. I also like Cody Schrager was a big part of this offense, and I know he was feels like he's easily replaceable as a former guy who played, smaller college football, comes in there, but he was a huge part of sort of that heartbeat of that team. Their leading rusher also was a pretty good Swiss Army knife type of guy out of the backfield. Losing Blake Baker, I'm curious to see what that looks like. He's off to LSU. I know they're staying in-house trying to kind of figure out how that works, but you wonder how that goes. I'm with you, Tom. I feel like this is a team that over-exceeded last year, so all of a sudden the bar is kind of reset. Kind of need to see them keep that bar there before I'm buying it and just saying, oh, yeah, that's an easy over.
there was also some stuff going on with some of those wins they had. Like Arkansas internally, it's pretty well acknowledged, was a disaster, right? I mean, they squeaked by Florida. South Carolina definitely had some problems last year, especially the offensive line. That was easy. Kentucky acted like idiots in that game, honestly, and just kind of threw it away. to them. The only way I could take over here is if I think this team is like meaningfully better than they were last year. And last year I thought they were kind of in that like 12 to 14 range power rating that I maintained before the bowl. I don't really use bowls in my ratings, so I don't care. And I look at people's actions, and I see Blake Baker hightail it out of there for a playoff contending Missouri team to go be the D coordinator at LSU. I think if Blake Baker had any faith in what Missouri has coming back on defense, he would have stayed, because Missouri is going to spend in the portal to try to augment that what they have, or bolster if you prefer. Dion does not. So, I mean, I kind of buy into people's actions, and I see all these NFL preseason games where all these Missouri guys on defense are balling out like consistently, and I'm just projecting a massive drop for their defense. I am not buying in. Give me the under.
Over. Let's go, Drink. Let's go. All right. So I think defensively, your concerns from personnel and coaching warranted. But when you look at the difference, so Auburn's probably, I'm giving Missouri 9 wins. I am handing them 9 wins. And I think that Auburn is a win. I think that right now, Auburn will not be able to score as many points as Missouri will be able to score when that game is played in Columbia. I think this is going to be one of the most fun and dynamic offenses in the entire Southeastern Conference. And while Brady Cook might not be the first-round NFL draft prospect, when you've got that kind of continuity and you are just in sync with your skill players and your coach, that can be a really dynamic thing later in your career when you've got that experience. We saw the success of 6th-year quarterback Michael Penix, 6th-year quarterback Bo Nix, like these older quarterbacks that especially get multiple years to be able to settle in with understanding the offense. You can really pick apart some college defenses. And I'm glad you mentioned Cody Schrader, because now I get to go to a little home cooking. Because
you going to App?
We're going to App State, baby, because Nate Noel gave App State 4 hard years of good running behind a big offensive line. And this offensive line at Missouri is bigger, has more continuity among the group. I think that he will not be able to be everything that Cody Schrader was necessarily, but I am not worried about a drop-off because I saw what he was able to do with the Mountaineers in that offense, and I think that he's going to be able to be very productive in this offense. It's another reason why I think that Missouri will have one of the most fun offenses in the SEC.
I will caution folks out there, like we love our sponsor, FanDuel. Bet the over at FanDuel. There's like 45 cents cheaper elsewhere. So we'll give FanDuel plenty of action throughout the year. There's no reason to bet minus 180 instead of minus 135. Like that's
right.
Unless
For
you're
the
just
under.
super confident.
right. If you want to bet under, yeah, or unless you just love
But unless you want to jump on board
I'm
with
trying to prove a point here.
146, let's go all the way.
Chipalytics.
Chipalytics say you've got one App State transfer. That's a win and a half.
Yeah.
Come on.